Veronica, how are you?
I'm good, Lou. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Happy New Year to you.
And you?
So, we are moving on with our series discussing the 12 steps, and today we are going to discuss step 3, which reads made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. So, away you go.
Well, I'd like to start really by asking you what you feel or what you think that step is about.
Um, as somebody who is agnostic, the word that leaps out of me is the word God. And yes, exactly. And I kind of recoil in horror at the thought of having to contemplate, engage, give it too much thought. So yeah, I'm put off. I am very, very scared of this particular step and its connotations or meanings. But I'm sure that I'm wrong in that, and I'm sure you're going to school me in that now.
What do you think it means then?
I think it's about, to me, it's about surrender. It's what it sounds like. It's about surrendering to the idea that somebody or something knows better than we do. And whether that's God or the universe or whatever you want to believe in, that's how I interpret that, rightly or wrongly.
I think your reaction is really common. My reaction initially was I don't know if I was what I was. I wasn't put off or offended by the word God. I thought God was a nice idea. I just didn't really see how it was relevant to me. I just thought that was nice. God's nice, I think, and helps some people, but I really didn't see what that had to do with me and how that was really going to have any effect on my life. And I really love working with people who I love working with atheists who are just like, this is, let me tell you, this is why it's not going to work, doing the steps because of this bit, so don't believe in God. And it's wonderful how this all changes. So one of the things I've said before is that the steps don't exist in isolation. They are cogs that all turn together. So step 3 is not something that just stands on its own. And one of the big mistakes I see people make in early recovery, people who are going through the 12 steps, is struggling with I've got to have some idea of God at step 3. And often it's explained to people that it's really your understanding. So God could stand for group of drunks or good orderly direction, and many kind of atheists are like, good orderly direction, I can live with that. I can accept that me in charge of my life hasn't been all that successful and I need some good orderly direction. I can live with that. So I see lots of people struggling to get a sense of what God or their higher power means at step 3, and that's completely unnecessary. At step 3, to do step 3, you can be carrying your atheist membership card with pride, and it really is irrelevant. And this is why. It talks about making a decision. So really all it is a decision. It doesn't actually mean anything. It's a decision that you're going to turn your will and your life over. So how do you do that? And again, I hear lots of wild and wacky ways of how people turn their life and their will over to God. And I hear people say, I get down on my knees in the morning, I say my prayer and I give God my will, and then I stand up and I take it back again, and my whole day is crazy. And all it means is made a decision to turn our life and will over to the care of God. That means then do the next order steps. The next 9 steps. That's all it is.
Yeah. So it's not about surrender.
Surrender is something you don't have to worry about. That will just happen. It's not a conscious thing you have to do at that point. All it is okay, all right, I don't believe in this God word. Not sure if this is going to work for me. Don't think I believe in God. And it's very linked to step 2, but I'll make a decision to go through with the next few steps that come after it. I'll do that and see what happens. That's all it is, really. Now, we turn our life and our will over to God by doing the steps. And really, and again, this is why they all work together. In an essence, all the steps is they just want me to really look at myself. They really want me to have a look at my crap. They really want me to get my crap out of the way that's blocking me. They want me to own up to my crap and try and make, the wrongs that I've done right. They want me to lead a more spiritual life and just reflecting and being more connected to who I am and helping other people. That's it. Now, I kind of thought, if I give my life and will over to God, I'm going to have to become like a nun in Africa and save children. That will probably be God's will for me. And I was really resistant to that because I like lipstick and high heels.
Yeah.
And dancing. And really, God's will, all it is he just wants me to be the best version of myself that I'm capable of being, instead of the worst version of myself, which is what I had been really up until then. That's it. God just wants me to be the best version of myself. So here's the thing. So I was fine with that, embarked on the rest of the steps, which are action steps, did these things that I didn't really want to do because they weren't really, who wants to look at themselves, who wants to make amends, did that, and something changed. Something deep inside of me shifted, and I began to see things differently, and I was like, ooh, that's crazy. Like, for 30 years of my life, I felt that I'm not good enough. And I don't feel like that anymore. And I've just done these things that really were a bit scary, but not really. I mean, they were pretty straightforward and simple. I mean, it wasn't hard. It wasn't, you had to be, Stephen Hawking to understand it or anything. It was pretty straightforward. And as a result of this massive shift inside of me that enabled me to feel for the first time alive and whole and connected and healed, I can only attribute that to this word God. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means for anybody. I have some sense of what it means to me, but I had tried everything else. And this just emotional shift had occurred, and something bigger than me helped in all of that. And that's really it. Does that make sense?
It does, and as you were speaking, the thing that it made me think of, for some reason, it made me think of Brené Brown and being authentic and wholehearted, and it kind of sounds like the same thing. That the action steps just encourage you to be authentic with yourself, so being honest, and to approach everything with a whole heart. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's what it made me think of.
Yeah, it's all of that. And, it's a constantly evolving thing. You do not have to be, a theologian by step 3. All you have to do is, make a decision, regardless of what you believe, because that's actually irrelevant to what will happen to you, and just do the next steps, the next step is step 4, which we're going to talk about, doing an inventory. When I work with newcomers, and I carve out time in my schedule and I sit down with newcomers and I take them through the steps, at that point I'm doing step 12, but I'm also doing step 3, because God's will for me is to do that.
Okay.
When I say something mean to my husband and then go back and apologize and tell him that my behavior was unacceptable, which is making amends, step 9, that's also step 3. Because God wants me to be the best version of myself. And I can't be that when I'm being mean and nasty. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense.
So God's will for you is probably not to become a nun in Africa and save children. It's just to be the best version of yourself. And none of us were when we were drinking. We just weren't. The other thing that's also pointed out is that we had a higher power, and it was alcohol. And really, all we are is changing it to something more positive.
Yeah. Great stuff. Thank you, Veronica.
All right.
Okay. Bye.